So I first thought about the issue of antimicrobial resistance and environmental damage, partly because I was aware of the broader issue that was around in my past career. In some of the earlier days of discussion about climate change and different incentives, a big global focus was about major multinationals moving to the so-called emerging world because they could produce and pollute more easily without the same constraints they may have in their domestic countries. So it was something in my mind. But specifically as it relates to AMR, it was really, I guess, when we went to India and it was evident that this was an issue that you heard generally discussed. And then rather wonderfully, along the lines of everything else my team has been so stimulating for, we really focused into it as a specialised area when we were thinking about the outline for a paper that was just going to be about the role of AMR in agriculture. But we decided to have this as a very specific side topic in that same paper. So when I first learnt that there was evidence that production of antibiotics was actually contributing to damage, my first overall reaction was, well, yeah, here's another complicated dilemma of this broad topic that I've been asked to lead a review into. One of the things that I have loved intellectually about the whole AMR problem is the complexity of it and the contradictory nature of many aspects of it. And in that regard, this was yet another perfect example of where there are contradictions, which I think was quite healthy because it meant we were ready in terms of thinking of solutions that would require us to think a little bit out of the box. But it didn't sort of freak me out as such. It made me think, oh, well, it's like one of the other challenges that we have, or many challenges we have in terms of coming up with solutions. So in terms of trying to deal with the pollution issue on a broader scale, and specifically for AMR or more broadly, I think part of it has been an issue in the past because a lot of global companies have appeared into the emerging world in the past 15 years and primarily done it in terms of an attraction about the relative cost of production. And of course, many of these host countries, it varies, but most of them have a common factor in wanting to attract these big global companies, and perhaps we're not so stringent in forcing companies to behave responsibly. And I think it was a sort of mutual co-interest of short-term interests that frankly caused them to overlook these kind of issues. But of course, partly helped by some of the pioneers such as yourselves about thinking of these issues and the efforts of our review team, I think the situation appears to be, and I'm hopeful in that regard, changing pretty dramatically. So in terms of the roadmap that's being introduced, it's amongst the many exciting developments that we have got to this stage with. And obviously, in terms of the commitments by the cutting-edge pharmaceutical industry, the fact that a roadmap is being unveiled and made such a deliberate goal by the pharmaceutical leading companies is a fantastic development in terms of changing the status quo of where we've got to. And I'm very, very pleased in helping publicise it. Well, in terms of trying to look at the world of more antibiotics being produced, I think a central issue now is going to be, can they be done in an environmentally supportive and helpful way? And of course, right at the centre of why the declaration and the footprint is just so important is it's going to set the standards for the rest of the industry in order that we put that part of the problem behind us going forward, and it's very exciting.